Good evening, my friends. Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you with a late night comic book unboxing. That's right, guys. CGC unboxing happening late on a Sunday night. Only because I have way too many books here that I have to get through, and I want to get on here and kind of get them done. Because, hey, it's Fan Expo week, and I'm going to be slammed. Actually, I'm slammed as it is, but it's going to get even worse. So I want to get on here and do these unboxings as soon as possible. Guys, who am I? Well, I'm Kevin the Comic Doctor. I'm a comic book presser. I'm also an authorized CGC dealer located up in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, and this is my my show where I come on and I do live CGC unboxings, kind of a virtual show and tell. And these are books that belong to all of you, my amazing clients. And today I've got some fun books here. I got a lot of magazines, almost a full box of magazines, but I also have I think what I see here, and I haven't checked these out. Again, I open these up, and I'm not sure what the heck's in these boxes. But I saw some yellow labels, so I have a feeling we got some books back from the Montreal Comic Con. And that was my second Signature Series event. Not a whole heck of a lot of books submitted, but some cool ones. So I think you're really going to like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about Hero Restoration, guys. I know you all heard about the another scandal in the comic book world. Not CGC this time, thank goodness. But nonetheless, a fellow that was quite well regarded in our community kind of went to the dark side, as it were. So we'll talk a bit about that as well. But let's get started, because to be honest, these late night shows, I'm not used to it. I'm pretty tired right now. I can hit the sack right now. I can go to sleep right this second. And we also have people in the chat room already. So if you're just getting here now, if you're new here, let me know where you're watching from, because I love to see where everybody's tuning in from. And if you are new and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, do that. You can join in our conversation. You can join in the chat. But again, you must subscribe to do so. And by the way, it's probably going to take 3,000 years to do this, but when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving out 10 free modern grading vouchers from CGC. And then when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a whole box of 25 modern books graded on me. So, hey, hit that subscribe button, join in the fun. All right, let's get started and see what we got. Usually I have some books already put out. Oh, here's some pretty interesting magazines. Mags you don't see every day. These are pretty cool. Let me get the overhead cam going. Boom. And these are such big magazines. Teen Talk, The Beatles, 7.5 white pager. Don't know much about that. We have another Beatles book here. We have the Beatles color pinup album from 1964 also. And this is an 8.5. Pretty cool. I think these were picked up at Flip in Toronto, Rob's shop in Toronto, if I remember correctly. They're not Rob's books, but they were purchased at his shop. Okay, we also have another copy of TMNT #1. This one's a second printing. We've been seeing a lot of third printings. Here we have a second printing. Boom, boom, boom. What else we got? A lot of cool magazines here. Oh yeah, here we go. We've got some more Marvel previews. John Sherwood, one of your books is here. Don't go anywhere. We've got a magazine, Marvel preview number 12, Haunt of Horror, in a 7.5. And this here is, I think, Mr. Sherwood's book, if I remember correctly. Boosh. Vanity Fair, 9.4 white pager. This is a pretty scandalous image back in the day, if you recall. Demi Moore, basically showing all, quite pregnant. Anyways, that's at a 9.4. My stack is really high. Let me go over and see who's here, because my stack is so high I can't even read these books anyway. We have Gord's the first in the house today. How you doing, Gord? Good to see you as well. Yes. John is here. Barlord is here. How you doing, Barlord? Mike Evans, how you doing? David Clark says, good. You waited after Big Brother. Yeah, that's why I did it. Dave, it's what I did. No, I wasn't sure. Honestly, I organized the stream this morning. I wasn't sure what my day entailed. So I figured, just in case we're going out for a late dinner or whatever. So I did a late show, but I'm paying for it right now because this guy's pretty tired. John's from Mississauga. Of course you are. Gordon says, hope everyone had a great weekend. Barlow's not new, but from Michigan. Nice. Eastern Standard Time down in Michigan as well. There were some floods in Mississauga. I was unaware. Unbeknownst to me. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, a bunch more. Now, if you're just getting here now, we're just getting through a box of probably about 15 or so magazines. We got some Sports Illustrateds now. Well, we got a whole bunch of stuff, not just Sports Illustrated. We have an 8.0 Tom Brady cover. We have, now these I believe belong to Carlo. Comics Journal. We have and this book here is pretty cool because it has a Leonardo drawing in Newswatch that predates the TMNT #1. This is from 1984, Comics Journal. And again, it has an image of one of the turtles in this particular mag. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. And from our thumbnail pick, we saw Epic Illustrated #3. Right there, and a 9.4. We have Heavy Metal. We have 2 Heavy Metals. Got one like this. Oh, I gotta take it out to check the slab actually, but all right, this is a 5.0. Put it right back. And we have a 7.5 as well. Right here, Heavy Metal magazine. And a 7.5. Some more Sports Illustrated. We have a Tiger Woods cover. Number 18, volume 85 from 96. A lot of guys are asking with Sports Illustrated, they're saying, hey, Kev, can you guys do the sticker removal? You know, the subscription sticker? Because I don't know if you realize this or not, but subscription books are worth far less than non-subscription books. And, you know, getting rid of that sticker would essentially turn that book into a non-subscription book. But not an easy task. In fact, oftentimes, to remove that sticker, you're really going to damage the book, or there's going to be some kind of evidence that there was a sticker there. So do you really have a non-subscription book? No. So you got to be really, really careful. When I see the sticker on there, I do not recommend trying to take it off. Savage Sword of Conan number 235. And a 7.5. I'm going to do that now because we're running out of room on the magazines. We also have a Bizarre Adventures. Pretty cool cover. We have a Bizarre Adventures number 29 from 1981. With a Walt Simonson cover, and that's at an 8.5 right there. Okay, we have three more mags and one comic book. Here, I'll show the comic book now. Why not? And I believe this comic book also came from Flip, because it's another Beatles book. It's not in there very nicely. Oh, there we go. Just gotta tap it around. We've got a Beatles by Royal Command from 1964, 8.5 white pager. It's a small kind of a mag, as you can see. It's missing the bottom there. It's an odd shape. 8.5, not bad. Pretty generous in my opinion. This doesn't look like an 8.5 to me, but what do I know, right? So that's the only comic size book we have in here. Yeah, so let me put some of these back. Then we also have two, again, I'll just show them like this first. We've got two of these. Well, one is a newsstand. Sorry, one is a subscription with what's his name, Mike Tyson on it, a 9.0. And the other one is actually not a subscription book, and it is right there, 6.0. Pretty cool. And then we have a really popular one. I see this one quite often. And it is a magazine with Michael Jordan. First Michael Jordan NBA cover. So pretty popular book in an 8.5 white pager. Excellent. All right, so that's it for the magazines. And what's really weird about this particular order, I waited for this box. This box was shipped out in May. And for some reason, this is what I'm trying to say. I can't, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why books come back quicker than others. In fact, I submitted vintage books magazines with this order and they came back pretty quick. But this box, for some reason, lingered at CGC for quite, probably about a month and a half more than it should have. Anyway, it's back now, which is good. But again, no rhyme or reason as to why that happens. Let's go to the chat window, see what you guys are saying. The GOAT, yeah, that's what's his name there, I guess. Peter says, hey, Kevin, how do you decide which comic will be your cover art? That's a good question. I take a sneak, I open up one box and I kind of really do a quick look and I just kind of flip through it quickly, the one box, and then I just grab a look and go with it. And I try to pick one that hasn't been done. Like I won't put the same book up there over and over and over again. That's pretty much it. So, I don't try to look at what's in the box. Like I say, I do look at them cold. I look really quickly at the covers, and a cover that I recognize and I think will look really cool, I'll put up. That's pretty much how it is, So if I have 3 boxes, sometimes one box I'll know a little bit more what's in it than the other 2. Ow. That really hurt. These mags are being very stubborn. They're being stubborn because the filler in the box isn't the right size. They obviously are low on their own supplies over there. Okay, so there we go. Box number 1 done. 2 more boxes. Again, we have 2. These are all comics now. I'm going to have a swig of water here. David Clark says that epic is epic. Yeah, it sure is. There it is. And then Bar Lord says, yikes. Shane says, my dad passed away last year. I got his belongings and I saved over 200 magazines collected over the years. Well, first of all, sorry to hear about the passing of your father, Shane. Definitely. And you've got 200 magazines to contend with. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to, are they Sports Illustrated? Are there a variety of different magazines? Some that have a sticker on them. When I have the money, I'll be sending some to Get Great. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You really look, they are what they are. It's like, a lot of guys will ask, hey, Kevin, can you put, if I find you a copy of a book with, what do you call it? The Mark's Jewelers insert. Can you put the Mark's Jeweler insert into another? I said, sure, you can, but they're probably going to catch you. They're, the holes never line up just right. I mean, if you want a Mark's Jeweler insert book, then go find a real Mark's Jeweler insert book, And I say the same thing for these magazines. I'm not saying it's an easy feat. It's not easy to find non-subscription magazines. I get it. But that's what makes those books so valuable. They are really, really valuable. So, yeah, whenever you're ready, Shane, love to help you out. Love to help you out, man. Again, sorry to hear about the passing of your father, man. Okay. With that, let's go on to this next box. Oh, I got to put these invoices over here first so I don't mix them up. Let's see what we got. Oh, these. Okay, we start off with a 9.8, which I like starting off with 9.8s. All right, we got a 9.8 Airboy from 86 right here. I'll move over to the overhead cam. We then have a Crow number 4 from Caliber Press and a 9.4 white pager. And then we have an Evil Ernie. There was a time when I was seeing tons of Evil Ernie, and they've really gone. They just don't see them very often anymore. Man. I just don't like how these. Oh man, the bends. Like, what the heck's going on here? Don't like it one bit. Like that's terrible. Ugh. These slabs are really damaging the books. I don't know what the hell's going on over there, man. Again, I don't think they're being damaged and graded and slabbed. I think they're being graded, and then when they're going to the slabbing, part of the encapsulation, like the final steps, I think that's when it's happening. Because I'm looking at this 9.4 and I'm seeing what's going on over there. I'm going, that makes no sense, and I'm seeing it over and over and over again. It's frustrating, very, very frustrating. Okay, now these these belong to these are Mr. This is the comic doctor's silliness. When I was really busy getting ready for Montreal, I sent these books out, and they weren't supposed to go out. And when you see these grades, you'll understand why. These are Danin's books, I believe. 5.5 copy of New Mutants 98. Oh boy. A 5.0 copy of Spider-Man #1. Yeah, totally my mistake, so I'll be taking care of Danon on this one. 5.0 copy of ASM 316 in a newsstand. Again, these are low grades. These were not meant to go to get graded. That was a comic Dr. Boo Boo. We got a 9.6 copy of X-Men 137 newsstand edition. And a 9.4 copy of X-Men 133. Been seeing that a lot lately, obviously, in a 9.4. Get in there. And then we have a 9.6 copy of Crow #2. Oh yeah, Dan, I did everything. Pressed, cleaned, and then I sent them off. Comic Doctor needs to read the labels, the submission forms a little closer before he hits that send button on the CGC, before he even proceed. I've been very diligent lately. And I hate to admit it, it's not the first time I've done that, Danon, but not very often. Not very often. Now, if you're watching this, guys, you see your books. These books will not be available until not this Saturday, until the following Saturday, because I am, as of pretty much tomorrow, I am persona non grata. You're not going to see me. I'm swamped this week with Fan Expo. I will do another unboxing on Tuesday. It will likely be a pre-recorded episode, just so I can get those last few boxes. And I got more boxes on the way still, but I want to get the box I have here finished. So I'll probably do a pre-recorded unboxing tomorrow, and then you'll see it on Tuesday. If I had started this a little earlier, I might have recorded it tonight, but I'm zonked. All right, let's keep going here. All right, what do we got? We got a, okay, this is cool. This is from Montreal for sure. Yeah, and it's got Jim Shooter's signature on it. This one, Danon, this is cool. I think Danon's is yours. Well, it was yours. This was Danon's Secret Wars #8. He sold it to me at the shop, or I traded, I can't remember. It got picked up in Montreal. The guy cracked it right there, and we got it signed by Jim Shooter, and it got the exact same grade. They received the exact same grade. We did not press it again. We just sent it in. Here we have a 9.8 copy of, oh, beautiful. Look at this, guys. Oh, wow. Two nice 9.8s coming up. We got a 9.8 copy of Spawn #1 newsstand. Congratulations to whoever's book that is, because that's a nice book to have in a newsstand, that's for sure. Quite a bit more expensive than the direct copy. We also have, this is beautiful. We have another book you don't see in a 9.8 very often, a white page or two, Avengers Annual 10, first appearance of Rogue. You know, we see that. I see the 9.4s and 9.6s all the time. You don't see them too often in 9.8s. They don't like to give this book a 9.8 that often. All right, here we go. Ready for some signature series? All right. We have a Pokemon Electric Pikachu Boogaloo signed by Ash, Veronica Taylor in Montreal in a 9.8. And we have another one here, also signed by Veronica Taylor, #4 in a 9.8. This is a cool Flash book here. This Flash book is signed by Tom Cavanaugh, the Reverse Flash, and Alan Tudyk, the Flash. I think Alan Tudyk played the voice of the Flash in one of the cartoons, and they were both in Montreal. So that's a pretty cool, cool book right there. Let me let me pack these up. It's getting a little too high now. I'll go over to the chat room. We'll come back in a moment. Why did an NM go so low? I thought at least a 7. I have no idea. Well, I have no idea. We'll look at it. We'll have to look at it. Remember, when it comes to modern books, they got to be pretty pristine to get a 9.8, and they hammer books hard. The modern books get hammered harder than any other book. I have a question. Shane says, if a person only has one magazine graded and it's the only one on the market, how can you know the value it is? Well, you don't. And that's the scary part, because last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, I mentioned this before. This is how volatile the magazines can be, because a customer gave me a Sports Illustrated book. It came back at 9.6. It was the highest in the census. I don't know if it was the only one graded, but it was like significantly higher than the others that were there. The book quickly sold for $10,000, but within a day or two, it sold for $20,000, and then it was on the market for $29,000. So that all happened in the course of a week. So you don't know. If you've got a magazine that has no other, there's no other comparables, it really is a what will someone pay for it? I have a client right now who's dealing with some pretty with some gaming magazines, and there are not very many out there, and he's getting good money for them, but he's nervous because he's selling these magazines for top dollar, but he's not sure. Like he's kind of setting the trend at what these books are worth, but there's not many out there. So he's kind of like, oh, maybe I'm selling these too cheap. So yeah, it's a scary thing, Shane. You never know, right? You never know. Yeah, they traded that to first appearance of the reverse. Oh, okay, there you go. Oh man, Flash 139 is my personal grail. You'll get it one day for sure, Barlow. You will get that book. What month are you guys working on now, Doc? Right now we are. I checked this afternoon when I was out to the shop to do some straightening up around, because it was really messy, and it's still a mess in there. But I think we are now into. We're getting close to the books that were submitted in Montreal that were not. That did not have any signatures on them, right? So we're in June still. We're still in June. No, we're not. Sorry. We're in July. Because yeah, I think we're like in early July, right? Early mid-July right now, I believe is where we're at. So yeah, we're chugging along pretty good. Okay. What years are the Pokemons? 1999. All right, let's keep going. We got some Ray Park now. We've got some Darth Maul books. Darth Maul #1 and a 9.6. Now, these books, initially they were not going to get pressed. And we looked them, Charlo and I looked them over, and we're like, they need a press. Like there was some slight dents and whatever in them. And there's more Darth Maul books. Where are they? Here they are. Yeah, here they are. And I'm glad we did. That one came back a 9.6. The other two, luckily, came back a 9.8. This one's a 9.8 here, Darth Maul book. This one had a big finger bend somewhere, and I think this one did too. So we gave them all a press, and they really did need it, and thank goodness, because they all came back 9.8, except for the one came back a 9.6. But without that press, without these books probably would have been 9.6, 9.4. So that was kind of good to see. We also have a Punisher. This one has had some scuffing, if I remember correctly. But it's a 9.4. This one here is signed by Vincent D'Onofrio, also in Montreal, signed by Vince D'Onofrio. And we have the villain label on there. This one here, also signed by Jim Shooter, is a ASM 252 foil edition in a 9.8. Right? We have more signature series in the next box. Again, this is box number 2, guys. If you're getting here now, we finished box number 1. Mostly were magazines. We're finishing off box number 2, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Hero Restoration. Give you my 2 cents on that. I wouldn't mind hearing your 2 cents on it as well. And then we will get to the final box and then call it a night. Right. What are you guys saying here? Shane says, if I can't find info on the first appearance in a magazine, how does CGC know where do they get their info from? Oh, well, they've already started to put together databases. I'm sure they have guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. The CGC can still miss something. For example, I don't have it here with me, but one of my clients submitted a Pokemon gaming manual. Pokemon? Yeah, Pokemon. And it has this sticker on it. There's a sticker on it, and the sticker's all wrinkly. And it came back Blue Label with a major deficit on the grade because they said the book was had heat damage to this sticker. But they're all like that. It's not heat damage. It's a flaw in the sticker. All the examples that are out there are like that. So what I did is I sent the book back as a mechanical error and said, guys, this Pokemon book, they're all like this. This is not done by pressing the book or it being exposed to heat. It's just the nature of this book to have that wrinkly. So they sent it back. They upped the grade, and it's no problem. So to kind of answer your question again, if it's a new, I'm sorry, I'm going to get back into focus again. If it's a new, if it's a magazine they haven't seen before, or even a comic they've never seen before, yeah, there is that chance they might miss something. But most of the first appearances of most, sports figures, they know. I mean, but like I said, the Pokemon gaming manuals, those are relatively new to CGC, so there's bound to be mishaps and mistakes, right? So I don't know if that answered your question or not. Mike says Crazy July books are done. That's good. Well, not done, but getting there. We're very close to being done July. We're about 4.5 weeks out right now. We're about 4 to 5 weeks out. You drop your book off, we should get to the book. Now, understand something. That's right now. I've been seeing an uptick in submissions the last week and a half. I'm sure Fan Expo had something to do with that, and the Kevin Eastman signings. So I've been seeing a lot more subs come in. I got a couple of huge orders coming in from the States as well. So my timelines could start getting bigger again. I told you guys, I said, if you want to get in quick, get them in like a couple of weeks ago, because we had a real good turnaround time. It's still good now, but September and October tend to be a little more busy. So if you have any books you want to submit, get them in now. When I get back from Fan Expo, I'll probably take a day like that Monday to kind of recuperate. And then I plan on, oh boy, it's gonna be a busy week. Then I have to do a major shipping day. There's a couple of you guys out there still waiting on 1 or 2 books to come back from your order so I can ship the books back to you. I plan on doing that week. Yeah, and I'm a little bit behind on the CGC submissions. I'll be honest. I'm gonna try to get them done, but I'm the only one who does that stuff, so it's hard. Okay, we got a Batman number 171 and a 6.5, first appearance of Silver Aged Riddler. We have a Captain America 100 and a 5.0. We got a Fantastic Four number 49 and a 3.5. Captain America number Steranko cover 110 and a 9.4. It's a nice grade on that book. And then we have a first appearance of Ra's al Ghul in Batman 232. Neil Adams special and a 6.5. Wow, they were generous with that. Big stain on the back there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Really bad stain there. 6.5 off white to white. Okay. We'll take it, I guess. 6.5. And that's it for box number 2. We pack that away. We'll go back to the chat. I'm going to talk a little bit about Hero Restoration in just a sec. All right. Boom. Dave says, thanks. Dropped off our books to Charlo the weekend you went to Newfoundland. I was saying Newfoundland. Niagara Falls Comic Con. That's right. I remember, Dave. I think they might be done. I'll be honest, I have 2 short boxes packed, ready to go to CGC. In fact, this week I'll probably have 3 or 4. My heart starts palpitating when I say that. I'll probably have 3 or 4. It takes a lot of time to do those submissions, right? I probably have 3 to 4 short boxes stuffed, ready to go to CGC by the end of this week. I've got a ton of books to review at the shop. Oh boy. Okay. Just Let's move forward. That's all you can do, right? I won't be sad when the convention season's over. I'll tell you that. Luis Sanchez, how you doing, Luis? Can you press a sign book with the signature to get damaged? Yeah, you can. You can press a sign book. You gotta be careful. Sometimes, like Sharpies and like true markers, no problem. It's those paint pens, the gold paint pens, the silver paint pens, the white paint pens, any paint pen. You got to be very careful with how hot you go, because sometimes you can reactivate the ink, and in turn, while it's in the press, you can smudge the signature. You know, so you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta be careful, right? But yeah, to answer your question, you can do that. That being said, those paint pens on their own, even without being pressed over time, can smudge on their own. I remember a buddy of mine had a ASM 300, had a beautiful Stanley signature in the middle with a silver paint pen. Yeah, after about 10 years, that Stanley just turned into a blob. It was like a silver blob. You couldn't even tell it was a Stanley signature. It was still in a gold signature series label, but I bet you $100 if you were to send that back, they may not give it that, because you couldn't tell. You can't tell it was a Stanley signed book because it was all smudged and weird looking. All right, look at this. They shove all these boards. Like, how many slabs is that? 3 or 4 slabs? They shoved all those boards in there instead of putting more books in here, which is kind of aggravating. All right, I'll put these in here. Let's talk really quickly about the Hero Restoration. I'll give you a lowdown of what's happening with that, and then we'll go on to the final box. And there's more signature series here as well. All right. Okay, so, and again, guys, if you have any questions or if you have any comments about this topic, by all means, let me know in the comment section. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it as well. So, there was a guy named Mike DeChellis, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Mike DeChellis. And Mike ran Hero Restoration in the United States. I think it was on the West Coast, if I remember correctly. And he had a company that he did pressing and cleaning and all that at CGC. He did, but the main thing was restoration. He did restoration work. And when I started getting into this game, you know, back in the late aughts, he was the man. Like, I mean, there was no one doing it in Canada. There might have been 1 or 2 guys in Canada doing it on a small scale. I kind of was. I think I am the longest running Canadian presser. I think I'm actually one of the first to offer it professionally, like as a business. Even then, Mike DeChellis had been doing it for probably 4 or 5 years before I came on the scene. And so he was well known and well regarded, and people referred to Mike as an expert, you know, deferred to him for his advice, that sort of thing. He was on a lot of YouTube channels. You know, he was on Gem Mint's channel and on Comic Tom's channel. So they showcased him on there. He had a brick and mortar shop. He had 2 locations. He had employees, the whole 9 yards. And I even spoke to him on a couple of occasions. I emailed back and forth with him. I had some questions or whatever. He'd answer my questions. Seemed like a nice enough guy. Didn't know him personally. But then about a year ago, there started being some crap was going down. There's some weird things started percolating out there in the ether, and people were saying, you know, my books aren't coming back, he's not returning my phone calls, and that sort of thing started happening. And when it first started happening, people were really you know, they were kind of coming to his defense, saying, well, you know, he's not like that, I'm sure there's a reason for it, he wouldn't just, you know, stop calling. But we're talking about guys with big dollar books. I'm talking like golden age keys, like, you know, like Tech 29 and Tech 27, and, you know, early Batman books, early action comic books, really valuable books, saying my books have gone missing. I haven't heard from him. It's been 2 years or a year and a half. He took our money. He didn't get my books. So that sort of thing started happening. And you started getting this mixed, you know, oh, I'm sure there's a good explanation. And with other guys saying, no, he's doing the same thing to me. He's ghosting me too. He's not, you know, and then you start and then I started seeing emails he would send people in response to their inquiries to where their books were. And he was pretty aggressive with, like, leave me the hell alone. The more you bother me, the longer it's going to take for me to get your books back, and that sort of behavior. And it was really odd. So I thought, you know, at that point, maybe something, you know, was going on. Maybe, you know, Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying, you know, I thought there would be something personal was happening to him. Maybe he was going through something, you know, because he seemed very irrational, and the letters seemed very confrontational, just unlike what I've, you know, seen him, how he behaved in the past. It was not like him to behave that way, so, or to speak in that way. So I was kind of like, something's going on here. Anyways, fast forward a few months, kind of quiets down. Then I start seeing there's an investigation going on. Kenny Sanderson at Sanderson Studios. If you don't follow Kenny, you should do that. Over on Instagram, type in Sanderson Studios. Kenny does some pretty amazing work. He's a contemporary of Matt Nelson, has been in the restoration game for a long time. He is now getting tons of these hero restoration books, and he's doing like actual breakdowns of like what happened in these books, what this Mike the Cellist tried to do with these books, how he failed, how he destroyed and ruined and made them worse in some cases, and now Kenny's trying to reverse the restoration that he did and to try to do a better job so it can actually preserve these comics. So if you're interested in that, go over and check out Kenny Sanderson's page on Instagram, and that's the only place Kenny's located, is Sanderson Studios. He actually breaks down, he shows pictures of the books coming, you know, what they look like after Hero Restoration worked on them, and the mess that he actually made on a lot of these books. Anyways, so that's been going on for a few months with Kenny, and there was an investigation going on as well. Now we find that on Thursday or Friday, Mike the Cellist is arrested. He's arrested. They find $300,000 worth of stolen comic books on him, and he's in custody. He's going to jail, whatever. It's a bad scene. Total fall from grace. Totally unbelievable, really, because, you know, I found it really hard to believe. I've worked myself very hard to build a reputation, and reputation is especially in this business, is something that is paramount. You know, you have to be honest and be forthright and be accommodating and be personable and be communicative and that sort of thing. And I work really hard. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a lot of what you see happen in my business, I'm doing all of that. Like, it's me, you know, like I'm the puppet master of the Comic Doctor, obviously. And I'm involved very deeply into this business, as you all know. So yeah, sometimes things can get forgotten. You know, the other day I shipped out a comic to Jay out in Ottawa, and I sent it to his old address. Lucky I fixed the problem before that happened, and it got rerouted back to his new address. But I mean, you know, things happen. Mishaps can happen. You know, we are only human. But, you know, you work hard to build a reputation for yourself, to build your business name, and then squander that, to take that and to lose it out of greed or whatever. I just find unfathomable. I could not believe that this dude, who's been around since probably 2008, 2007, something like that, who's been around for such a long time, he was well regarded in the business, would just do this is it just flabbergasts me. I can't believe it. So what do I think? I still think there's more to this story than we know. You know, whether there is some kind of addiction, and I'm not talking substance abuse necessarily, something that's made him do such a rash thing to take books that don't belong to him and either sell them or steal them or whatever. What would prompt someone to do something like that after building a business for so long? That's what I'm trying to say. I just find that so hard to believe, you know. Have you heard about this story? And if you have, what do you think about it? Have you heard anything more? Am I missing something? What do you think? Let's go to the chat and see if you guys know anything about this. JSS says, can you restore, repair, rehab brittle pages in comics and retain a blue CGC ladle? Well, look at an aqueous bath. Again, I don't want to get into that right now too much, but an aqueous bath, which pH-controlled aqueous bath, can reverse brittle pages to a certain extent, and make them more supple and strong again. When you do that to a book, it should receive a conserved label, not a restored label. But that's as far as I know. Yeah. So a blue label, yes. Possibly, but more likely than not, you'll get a conserved label. But if a book is on its way out, if the book is deteriorating, by the way, if it gets to a point where it's so far gone, like it's falling apart, there's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. The book's on its way out. But you could leaf cast it, I guess, and then do all that. But I mean, it would have to be really worth it to do all that work. But if you have a brittle book or a book that's very tanned and you want to kind of strengthen it, yeah, you can. You can certainly do an aqueous bath, and you can kind of reverse. I don't know if reverse it, but you can rehumidify the paper, as it were. You could do that. Barlord says, dang. David says, legit, CGC needs to make a pedigree label for the Chalice's victim books. It's newsworthy for the book story. Oh my God. I don't know if anybody would want to have the Chalice pedigree. That's funny, man. The Chalice pedigree victim book. It's like that angry girlfriend variant, right, of the Green Goblin first appearance. Gord says, possible mental breakdown or owed someone a crap load of cash. Gord, that's exactly what I was thinking. Another presser that I'm buddies with up here in Toronto area, he thinks that the money he was making, he was spending faster than he was making it. And then he just spent more money than he had. You know, and I can see how that can happen. And you gotta be very, very disciplined when you own a business like this. I talked about this with Sticky Goose the other night about, you know, as the money comes in, you have to allocate, you know, I got to pay taxes. So I got to put that money into a tax account. I can't just spend all that tax money because the tax man's coming. And if that money ain't there, that's when you start getting into trouble, right? So you have to know that. You know, the Chalice and a lot of pressers, I'll tell you, I think I'm one of the only pressers that does not charge money immediately. You know, I always felt it kind of weird. And you're giving me these books and I'm going to charge you and I haven't done anything with them yet. And they're sometimes like, oh, you're handing me an AF-15. I'm going to charge you, you know, X amount of dollars to do the work. And I'm going to take your money and your book. And I had done no work to it yet. I'd always kind of struck me odd. So I just have never gotten the habit of charging ahead of time. As certain people, you know, don't pay me. And I'm noticing that happening a little more lately. You know, and I'm not talking, there are some guys who contact me and that's fine. You know, like I said before, I've said in other streams, you know, sometimes life happens and comic books aren't as important as milk. You know what I mean? So I get it. And mortgage payments, I get it. That being said, I'm not a charity too. I got a business to run too, and I have bills to pay, so I can't do that for everybody. But if you're going to submit books, you know, realize that there's going to be a bill coming soon. 99% of people are excellent and they do pay, but there's always that 1% or even 2% lately that just kind of they ghost you. They don't even contact you. Oh yeah, you email us, what's going on? Can I get an update? Nothing. It's like, what's going on with that? You know, that's not cool. You know, because I'm pretty easygoing and I'm happy to work with people. You know, especially if something, because life does happen. I get that. I understand it. And again, I'm lucky. I'm in a position where I can sometimes wait. I don't need, you know, I can sometimes be a little patient on the payments, because you know what, I'm a teacher too on the side, right? On the side now, I think teaching's kind of the halftime thing. This is more full time, but that does give me some flexibility, right? If need be. Again, if everybody were doing that, I would not be in business for very long. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Got off on a tangent there, but if he's taking payments ahead of time and then spending the money, yeah, that might be a bad thing. And they're not doing the work. That could be a bad thing. Brandon says, did they find him on the run? I think that they did kind of find him on the run. I don't think it was like he was not where he lives, from what I understand. If I read the article correctly, he was kind of on the run. Gord says, I once knew someone who robbed the bank because it was the only way to get the money to stay alive. Got arrested, but is still here, completely out of the character for him. Look at. That's why I think something out of the ordinary happened. I just can't imagine somebody spending all that time to build a business and to go through all the hassle of, you know, hiring staff and having a brick and mortar store and advertising, making connections, and then just pissing it away because, you know, whatever. And I think, Gord, it's like a domino effect too, right? You start doing it once and then you maybe do it again and you do it again. And the next thing you know, it becomes a problem, right? You start dipping into where you shouldn't be dipping into. It's, you know, anyways, it's really a sad state of affairs. I feel bad because, you know, there's a lot of people really want to see the book thrown at him. So, you know, if he's guilty, he is guilty, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. I don't like to be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Accusatory, because we don't know the whole story, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to say guilty, you know. He obviously did some things that weren't ethical or right, but I want to hear the reasons behind it, because sometimes, like you said, people do things because they're desperate, because you know what, they got to eat, because they got to pay a mortgage or whatever, and sometimes maybe people make bad choices when those situations happen. Dannon says, the Dick Shellis collection new signature series, yeah. JS says, yes, he took money up front and never returned it or books. The lucky ones got books back. The $300K estimated stolen value is probably low value for fair market value. Probably right. And money does crazy things to people. You are right, Bar. Read my comments up above. I will, Dave. Regardless of his motive, what he did was reprehensible and wrong. Yes. Yeah, look, I'm not making an excuse for him. You do something wrong, you're still going to pay the penalty. You still got to pay the piper for that, right? You still got to pay the piper. But at the same time, I would like to know the story. I want to know the whole story, so that I can, you know, make a better. Again, I'm with you, man. You do something wrong, you gotta pay the penalty. I'm all for that. But again, there may have been extenuating circumstances. I like to hear that. Not to say I'm going to let him off because of those extenuating circumstances, but just for my own. I want to know why. I want to make sense in my mind. That's all. Regardless of why he got in a situation, even if it was initially out of his control, once he was there, he had plenty of opportunities to make it right, send books back. He did, and that's true. And I remember, and that's what I meant, Derek. Like there was if you were following this a few months ago, guys on various Facebook groups were putting like. What do you call it? Like the correspondence with him up on Facebook, and it was like, you know, yeah, he didn't sound right. You know what I mean? He just didn't sound right. He was like an animal in a cage, kind of like, you know, up against the, you know, no other way to kind of respond. It was really weird. It was really strange, and it just seemed out of character. But yeah, again, you're right. People were asking for books. He wasn't giving them back. I don't know. It is scary. Dave said, read my point above. Dave says he probably had some major things happen in his life all of a sudden. And that could, well, this was going on for a while. But again, that's my thinking too. I think something had to have happened to tip him over the edge. Because again, when you have a viable, strong business, why would you, do that? Now, this goes back to one of my earlier videos, if you recall. I kind of went over my video talking about how to pick a presser, how to pick someone to work with, right? And one of the points I said was, not everybody's a good businessman. Not everybody knows how to work with people. Not everybody can run a business properly. And again, we don't know the inner workings of any business. It's none of our business. You know, even if we're working with another, you know, if I take my car to a mechanic, I don't know how they're keeping their books and what they're doing, if they're doing their taxes. I have no idea. You know, I'm going based on the work I've, you know, on the relationship we've built over the years, and maybe word of mouth and that sort of thing. And I would assume that's kind of what happened here. But yeah, it's a real strange situation, because the people that I know that have dealt with, I think this bad pressers. I'll say bad. And when I say bad pressers, I don't mean bad pressers in the sense they didn't do a good job pressing. Is that they weren't good business people. They didn't know how to work with others. They lied. They were saying, this one guy, oh my God, there was one dude who, oh my God. There was one guy who just kept lying to his client, and the client was contacting me and asking me my opinion on stuff. And as he's telling me stuff about like how this guy was doing his CGC, nothing he was saying was accurate. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And then he sent him a picture of, he goes, look, your books are at CGC right now. And he sent them a picture of like a screenshot of the CGC submission form. And it said bulk. And I said, bulk? I said, buddy, that's a picture for cards. That's for cards, for trading cards or hockey cards or sports cards. There's no bulk for comics. So we caught him in a bold-faced lie. It's like, what are you doing lying to your customers? That's just the most stupidest thing you can do. So, you got these bad pressers, these bad business people that they just get overwhelmed. Look, I'm stressed out. I'm going to tell you, this is a busy time of the year. I mentioned I've got 3 boxes I've got to do data entry for. I got to invoice. I just sent another 200 books out on Friday to CGC or Thursday. I have that many invoices I got to do, right? I mean, it's never ending. It's never ending. I get it. But you know what? When it's time for me to say, if I can't handle it anymore, if I feel like it's just too much and I can't do it, guess what? I stop. I finish the jobs I've got and I stop and I walk away, right? That's what you should do. If the energy I'm putting out is not giving me back any remuneration that's worth my time, my energy, or the joy, and more importantly, the joy, when the joy is completely gone, then why are you going to even do this anymore, right? So yeah, I don't understand how people can do that to others, but it happens. Obviously it happens, because I've heard horror stories just locally. But this is a major thing. This guy was well known. He was well known all over North America. Barlord says, as soon as someone lies, that relationship is destroyed. There's no point in lying. It's pointless. Anyways, guys, it's an interesting story. There's articles out there already. If you go to on Google, you can find the actual news article about his arrest. Just type in hero restoration arrest. You'll read all the news about it. It really, again, it's something you don't like to see in our hobby. But they're out there. We talked about even comic book dealers who color touch books and sell them to people and don't disclose that. There are unscrupulous people in every nook and cranny of this hobby. And guess what? They're in the nook and cranny of every single industry that's out there. It's not just ours exclusively, right? And when especially when money's involved and when money can be made, you're going to find those scumbags. They're going to try to take advantage of you and of me and of everybody else to try to make a buck. It's a sad state of affair. As soon deep breaths, Doc. Yeah, I will. We got another box of comics to share with you. Oh, and by the way, the other day we talked a little bit about the $10 million lawsuit, the CGC lawsuit. I was contacted by the Philadelphia Inquirer. I think it's the Philadelphia Inquirer, I think. And they interviewed me. They wanted me to give my 2 cents worth. There was an article they did. Let me make sure it's called the Philadelphia Inquirer. I tried to post this on my Facebook page and it wouldn't work. So let me just tell you exactly where it is. Because if you go to this Philadelphia Inquirer website and type in comic books, the article comes up, and it actually, because we were kind of debating, the ins and outs of the lawsuit. This article is like a 5-minute read, and it goes through everything concisely. And those that were interested in that conversation, I encourage you to go over there and take a look and read it over. Yeah, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Let me see. Yeah, Philadelphia Inquirer. And just Google that, and you'll see it. Go to their website and type in comic books or 10 million or whatever, and the whole story comes up, and then you can actually see the ins and outs of that case yourself. And I speak. I actually have they quote me on a couple of things, which is kind of cool. All right, enough of this. Let's get to the last box of comics. What time is it? Late night with the comic doctor. It's like the David Letterman show. I tried to find some Paul Schaefer music. No luck. Oh, wait. Nope. Wrong box. Wrong box. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, we have some more Montreal books. No, Niagara Falls books. These took a little longer because my client wanted them pressed at CGC. He wanted them to go right away. All right, here we go. How do I do this? Overhead cam. There we go. All right, here we go. So we got a Superman and He-Man, and DC Comics presents 47 in an 8.5 white pager. And I'll share that with you right now. We got a Sandman number 1 in a 5.5. That's a pretty low book. Why is that so low? Oh, I see. Is that a split there or something? Yeah. Again, here we go. Low books. I'm not sure if this is a part of that same lot or not. We have New Mutants 87 and a 9.0. We've got a Crow #1. Looks like a first print as well, which is awesome, and an 8.5. Ah, close, but no cigar. We got an NYX #3 and a 9.6. I think these are, oh, I think this is yours if you're out there. These are Mike's. These are your books, I think. Again, I never want to say that and not be 100% sure. They crucified the Umbrella Academy. Why'd they do that? What's going on with that? They were really mean to this. Oh, is that a stain there? Maybe not. I don't know. 8.5 white pager, Umbrella Academy. 9.0 on New Mutants 98. 9.0 on Spawn 175. A little harsh on that one too, I would think. That was more like a 9.4 to me, but okay, here we go. Punisher #1, Canadian price variant. Wow, 9.8. .2 copy, Nova #1. I'm just gonna do this, guys. Get it done. I'm zonked. Let me go to the big screen here. We got a Marvel Secret Wars #8 and a 9. Oh, come on, I'm looking. Oh my gosh, and a 9.4. Like the Umbrella Academy is an 8.5, and this thing's a 9.4. Look at this. Look at that. 9.4. It's got like a scuff at the bottom, almost like a, not a tear or anything, but it's a good scuff. Come on now. All right, graders, whatever you say. Turtles #4 and a 9.4. There. Amazing Spider-Man #300 and a 9.4. I think that was a grade bump. We got a, what the hell's going on? .0 on this Spawn. They're out to lunch on that. There's a couple of books here a little too low. .6 copy of Amazing Spider-Man 238. Yeah, I'm not digging on some of those books over there. .4 copy of ASM Annual 16. It's hot in here, guys. It's hot in here. Yeah, Andre says grader notes. I'll be checking the grader notes later. Oh, Dannon, that's why. Dannon says, can't post news articles on Facebook anymore. New media laws that took effect in the spring in Canada, right? Stupid. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, if you want to read that article, it's a good article. It's about a 5-minute read. Philadelphia Inquirer, and it's all on there. And again, it goes through the entire case really quickly. It explains exactly what happened. No guesswork. Amazing Spider-Man 194 and an 8.5. And then we got some signature series books. We've got a T2 Judgment Day, signed by Robert Patrick in Niagara Falls, and a 9.8. Come on. We have a 9.4 copy of RoboCop, signed by Peter Weller. Funny Peter Weller story. You want to hear a funny Peter Weller story? Another RoboCop. Peter Weller. 9.8. Look at the ripples on there. See those ripples? There you go. These books were pretty nice. We got a 9.6 copy here. Peter Weller. All right, there you go. We got a bunch more. They're all the same. I'm not going to show them anymore. And we got a 6.5 copy of Star Wars #1 reprint multi-pack edition. Star Wars #1 reprint multi-pack edition. Multi-pack because of this white square, I believe. The reprint version of Star Wars. And be careful if you're ever buying a Star Wars book, because it's hard to see. And some guys have brought me books they thought were first prints, and they're actually second prints. They actually says second print right along the blue here. So if you're in the market for buying a Star Wars #1 raw, always check to make sure there's no reprint. And it's going vertically. It says reprint. It's a little black box, reprint. It says right there. So just be careful if you're buying a Star Wars #1. This one here is a reprint, but it's a multi-pack reprint, and that's why there's no, barcode or logo or anything there. Okay, Peter Weller story. Then I'm going to let you go. So at Niagara Falls, my witness had to go and get the Peter Weller and go and get the my witness, his name is Ryan. He had to go and get the Peter Weller signatures, and he had to go get the Robert Patrick signature. Robert Patrick, very nice, very accommodating, very nice man. Peter Weller, because we skipped the line, we had a lot of books, so we paid a little more to get to the front of the line. We kind of got booed at a little bit from all the fans who were waiting, and that's okay. But then I think Ryan called him Mr. Weller, and he made a very big scene. He goes, I am not Mr. Weller, I am a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm Dr. Weller. I have a PhD. And he kept going on about, call me doctor, call me doctor. I did not hear that part of it. But Ryan came back and told me, he goes, oh boy, man, he made a big scene. He talked, I called him thank you. I said, thank you. I was being polite. I said, thank you, Mr. Weller. And he went on about him being a doctor. And I said, what the hell is he talking about? A doctor? I go, I bet you $100 he's got a doctorate in like fine art. I bet you $100. So I look it up. Sure enough, he's an expert in Renaissance art. He's a doctor of fine arts. Whoopie-dippy-doo. Anyways, what do you think? Should those people who hold PhDs that are not medical doctors call themselves doctor? I have a few buddies at school, teachers, who are doctors, and they don't want to be called doctor. They got their philosophy doctorate, or they got their English doctorate, in creative writing or whatever, and they don't want to be called doctor. Only once did I ever have a teacher at school who insisted on being called doctor. And again, his doctor was in education. He got a PhD in education, right? You can get your teacher's certificate, and then you can go back and get your master's in education and your doctorate in education, or your PhD. And he came back and he wanted to be called doctor. And I'd always bug him, and I'd be like, oh, you want to be a doctor? I said, oh, I got this pain in my shoulder here, doc. He goes, oh, I'm not that kind of doctor. It's like, come on. Anyways, like, I'm a comic doctor, but I don't expect people to call me doctor. Although a lot of you guys call me doc, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I people who got to push the fact that they've got their doctorate degree in fine arts. Good for you. Good for you, sir. Good for you. Yeah, Weller's a professor at Syracuse University. I read that too. Let's see here. Dude, I had high hopes on those spawns. Mike, so did I. And that one is disgustingly low. And I'm going to find out why, because they should not have been that low. 6, it's just boggling my mind, to be honest with you, Mike. Some of those grades. Yeah, I'll be taking a look at those closely. I'll be honest, Mike, that's some of the ugliest looking grades I've seen ever, coming back. Yeah, what's up with that? Because they were not that low. So I'm gonna have a look at that. I will look at that. I found the article. You had to pay $1. No, Dan, you shouldn't have to. I don't pay $1. Just skip through it. You can read it. Do embossing stamps press out well? Do you mean like? What do you mean embossing stamps? Do you mean like What do you mean, David? Nice. I'd have to think signatures would be rarer. T2 is the best. It is the best. Weller's Professor, we talked about that. Marvel also printed a UPC reprint of Star Wars #1. I have one. Yes, they did. Chuck says, as they've done the work, many don't make a big deal of it outside of academia. Yeah, I know. Most don't. You know, especially to be, you know, in a public setting and embarrass somebody because they didn't know. Like, how is Ryan supposed to know? And he didn't call him Peter. He said Mr. Weller. He was being very polite. And then he had to be kind of make a big deal about it. He felt very embarrassed by it. So I thought that was kind of dickish, but what are you going to do? He hosted Engineering and Empire of the History Channel. I heard that as well. Still common courtesy. It's not like he was being disrespectful. That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. They paid you? Oh, sure, now, yeah, you can be, yeah, you're right. You paid for it. You done the work. Listen, if you want to be called doctor and you're a doctor of philosophy or a doctor of whatever, yeah, you definitely can. But I don't know. So there's a way of asking people to do that, you know. And it's certainly not to do it in front of a group of 50 people and center somebody out and make them feel this small because they didn't know, right? David Clark, I told a doctor once to shut her pie hole. He was my art history teacher. Who's your art history teacher? Who was your art history teacher, David? No. Robin, it's misleading today. Doctor is commonly understood to be associated. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right? David Drives, embossed stamps are the people. Oh, okay. Wait, embossed stamps are when people push paper over like a raised lettering or graphic. You've seen them on documents sometimes. Those can be pressed, no problem. Yeah, the pressure we're putting on, it's quite high, but it's not like, there are those embossed covers, you know, the covers that are kind of like 3D kind of. Those are totally fine. We can press those till the cows come home, and we have no problem. Yeah. What the hell's up with this? This. I'm looking at this. This is bullcrap. How in God's name is that a 6? The only way this is a 6 is if there's a tear or a massive stain. Okay, I gotta check right now. I gotta see right now because this is so stupid. I got my phone out here. Oh, do I have my phone? Oh, yeah, right here, sir. Wrong phone. This phone. Let me see what's going on with this, because that is ridiculous. Come on. Hold on. I'll try to get this thing working here. Doesn't want to read the UPC. Nope, doesn't want to do it. Okay, let's go to the CGC website. Oh, let's go to the CGC website. Bear with me, guys. I want to see what this says because it's stupid. That's a really low grade. If you're having a 6.0 on a modern like that, and I'm looking at this book right now, and the book looks like, honestly, it's a 9+. That's what it looks like to me. So why is it a 6? The only way it's a 6 is if there's some kind of something missing or a tear or something, or like I said, some kind of a stain. Let me have a look really quick. Let's see what we can find. All right, certification number 445 856 445 856 3002. Let's see what we got. Now imagine there were no grading notes. Boy, oh boy, that would not be cool. We'll see what this is and then we'll take off. If you haven't done so yet, guys, please hit that. Okay. All right. Okay. This is what it says for the grader's notes on this. This grade is bullshit. There's a mistake here. Has to be. It says light spine stress lines to cover. I'm looking, and I nothing that's too crazy. And then it says moderate creasing to cover. Oh, I think I see what's going on. I see something, but I don't have seen that. I do see something on here. I do see something on here. There seems to be like a crease. Like you can't see it. There's a crease that goes like this, but I cannot recall if that was on there before. And we'll figure something out with this. That's bull crap. Anyways. Oh, all right, guys. I'm tired. Long night, long day. My friends, if you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that like button and hit that subscribe button as well too. Again, I will not be back for a live unboxing this week. I'll probably do a pre-recorded unboxing on Tuesday. 3 more boxes to go through, and then and more boxes on the way. So I'll be here the following Tuesday. If you have any questions for me, you can always send them to the info@thecomicdoctor.com, or you can always text me as well. What else can I tell you? I'll be at Fan Expo this week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tomorrow is my deadline for celebrity celebrity autographs on comic books. So if you have a comic book you want to get to me, I kind of need it for tomorrow. I'm organizing everything tomorrow. I've got a whole bunch of books already. I plan on having all those signatures done on Saturday morning. And then again, if you have books that you want to have signed by artists, that's not a problem. Come and see me at the Fan Expo in person there, and we'll get those signatures for you. That's it for me, guys. You listen, you have a great rest of your night. And good sleep. I know I sure will. And we will talk to you really, really soon right here. I'll be posting from Fan Expo as well. So make sure you add me to your Instagram. That's probably my go-to place. And until I see you again live here, all the best. Take care. And see you again very, very soon. Good night. Bye for now.